Hi, Snow. How you doing?
I'm good. MJ, how are you?
Oh God, it was such a long week. It's just, man, we had like a good episode lined up, but the lawyers forbid us to talk about it at this
We've
time.
we've been silenced.
Yeah, we've been silenced. We've been canceled. We're part of this cancel
We're
culture.
part of the
2020.
cancel
No.
culture.
Yeah, already.
Oh
Man, we're only
my!
like
So
nine,
it is true. So it is something to complain about.
yeah, 9 episodes in, and we've been silenced.
Oh my gosh.
That means you're
Yeah.
doing something right.
Yeah, but hey, we'll give a shout out to our super fan Kimberlyn, and we now are on Twitter at reality_redemption, reality redemption on Facebook and Instagram. So,
Whoa.
Fancy.
just a little tease. If anybody sees a turtle on Hollywood Boulevard, please contact us on social media.
She's missing.
Yeah, is it a she? I don't know.
I thought they said it was a she.
It might be.
Okay.
Anyway, that's all we can say about that.
Right.
Yeah. So, long week. Did you see the president's interview on HBO last week?
It was so.
Axios.
Axios.
Yes,
we should,
I
we should mention
did.
we have Aaron and Stephanie joining us again today.
Hi guys.
How you guys
Hello.
doing?
Howdy, howdy, howdy.
Yeah, and he came out, and what are we up to? 162,000 dead.
I can
Um,
look
About
if you
that.
want.
I lost count at the 159. That's what I was up to, but it would not surprise me that it's 162 now. I haven't listened to the radio in a couple days.
And what is? He said it is what it is.
Oh yeah. That's the way we handle things in that family.
Yeah. Let's see the other thing that came out. I totally thought this was a conspiracy because somebody was telling me,
162,000.
"Hey, did you see the bat coin? You know, because COVID's supposed to start with the bats on it, and there's actual coin from American Guam that has 2 bats on the back of it.
And it's been rumored that I also might have started like from a snake. I mean, they don't really know. So
Well, I mean, didn't it start when Obama funded the lab over there, and Fauci was in on it too?
right, it's like they hear something about. So is that coin going to be the new conspiracy token?
Yeah, I think that's where people are going to go with it.
Okay.
Is that, hey, look, the
Collector's
mint,
item.
the mint was already printing these things out. They knew what was coming, and this will mysteriously go away during the election.
Oh, okay.
God, I'm tired of hearing that.
And let's see, we had our elections this week, and there was some good news and some bad news.
Yeah.
Jamie got back in.
Yay.
Sarah,
Yay.
unfortunately, did not.
I'm sad about that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they kind of got screwed a little bit because the other you're not supposed to be conservative or liberal on that.
It's a
Yeah, you're
nonpartisan
not
race.
supposed to be, but they specifically made it a point to tell what side of the aisle they were on. And it's like, this, shouldn't that go against some law? Somebody should have challenged that and been like, this is supposed to be nonpartisan. I don't know if they'd have a leg to stand on, but it should have been.
Right. So the 3 conservative candidates, even though they're not supposed to be conservative, came up with a flyer and said, vote for these 3 candidates, because you could choose up to 3 candidates for city council. Your buddy got the county commissioner seat.
My buddy.
Your buddy.
You mean supervisor?
Yeah, yeah.
Karen Weiss?
Yeah, Karen Weiss. Yeah.
Yes, he
Yeah.
did win for supervisor.
You had a little dust up with him on Facebook this week.
Yeah. Well, a few weeks ago. Yeah. Apparently it didn't do any good. He still made it.
Yeah. Well,
Good for him.
he might be the best candidate out of the rest of them.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I'm not even going to be a sore loser about it. Congratulations, Karen Weiss. Way to go. Well played. Well played on visiting Colorado City.
And the other thing to clear up about Sarah and how she got a little screwed over here is people were associating her with trying to organized a Black Lives Matter protest downtown, which was really unfair to her, and it was a really nasty rumor.
She wasn't the one that organized it.
We know that, but apparently other people in this town created that rumor.
Perhaps those people should buy those bat coins?
Maybe. You know, it was probably the same guy that has the Confederate flag store, because he had a real bad thing against KPA. Also, saying that KPA members were the ones that tore down his sign a few years ago.
They were not. I know who tore down the sign, and that person never went to a KPA meeting.
Yeah.
So that person even admitted to it and apologized and put it back.
And, sent money
Yes.
for reparations on it.
For reparations. Appropriate, right?
Okay, so yesterday, we couldn't record this episode yesterday because I was counting ballots and was kind of like quality control. So basically what you do is you go over to the county building, okay, they sit you down, and you have two groups of three Republicans, one Democrat, which was me, and then you had two Democrats and one Republican. And basically they take a district, like I was doing Meadview and Fort Mojave, and the other group was doing hand ballots on it. And you have a couple people one person from the Republican Party, one person from the Democratic Party as observers, and then you had a Republican chair and a Democrat chair overseeing the whole thing.
Okay, so I don't understand why did you guys have to do this if they were already all called and the votes were in?
It's quality control. It's basically making sure the machines are counting this correctly, and it's just backing it up.
So the machines, but does this have anything to do with mail-in? Because we've been hearing that mail-in's a huge fraud lately.
Okay,
So
But not absentee.
mail-in seemed to be okay with their quality control count. Where we ran into a problem, and here's the first thing. You have your write-in ballots that are separated, then you have ballots that counted in the machine, where everybody went down party lines on it.
Right.
Didn't write anything in. So you counted two different stacks. And first thing you do is you count all the ballots. There was 100 from Meadview, and there was like 500 from Mojave. And so you count them all, and as you're counting them, you want to make sure that all the boxes are checked. And this is an important piece to the story later. Well, I found one where you're supposed to color the oval in.
Mhm.
Well, I found a check mark on one, and I went.
That's supposed to not count.
Yeah, I went to the chair and said, "Hey, what about this one?" He goes, "Oh, don't worry, the machine counts that." So long story short, 5 or 6 hours later, and after about 5 or 6 recounts, because we were 2 votes short on the McSally race, our count was 2 votes off of what the machine tallied. Now, you have a 1% human error. So they could have just said, well, it's close enough. But they didn't. And it was a Republican that was doing this. And the contest wasn't even close. We had to count and recount. And eventually I was just like, well, could it be there was one check mark on the handwritten votes, there was one check in the machine process votes, and we never found it after hours. I had to bail because I had to get out of there. But yeah, it's tedious.
All of them you're supposed to fill in the oval, though. You're not. None of them are you supposed to exit, right?
And I'm afraid to color outside the oval, but the
Right.
machine does count that.
Right. I mean, sometimes I'm like, oh, whoopsie doodle. Like your pen will do a little jerk there, and you're like, whoops, I better really fill that in then.
Well, as the machine processes it, if you look, there's little black check marks on each side of the ballot. Whenever it goes through to that oval, it puts a timestamp on that, and that's how it's counted. So, I mean, it was interesting, and it was cool to see Republicans and Democrats working together. We're all getting along, except, here's the other thing.
Don't.
I worked with 2 Republican women, and so they go for a lunch break, and I take 20 minutes, go to the store, get a drink, something to eat really quick. They took an hour and 20 minutes.
Where the fuck did they go?
Who knows? But then I have to sit
We gotta go have champagne brunch.
So I have to sit there, and I can't do anything because you have to have witnesses around you. So it was just a long day. I will never do it again.
I wouldn't either.
But this goes back to what's going to happen in November. If they were that meticulous about trying to find these 2 votes for McSally, can you imagine what it's going to be like in the presidential
Oh my
election?
God, I can only imagine. Yeah.
Um,
Let's remind people again. People, please fill the ovals in.
yes.
Do not check them.
do not check.
It even tells you that if you read it, it will say this is acceptable. This is not. Aaron, you have a question?
I was gonna be a smartass and fill him in with like a crayon or Sharpie pen, and I'm like,
Sharpie.
will that invalidate what? I have a bunch of crazy Sharpie pens that I use for my other project. Would that invalidate the vote?
Yeah, because it's
Would the
supposed-
machine read it?
It's supposed to be
Supposed to be blue or black.
blue or
Right.
black. Yeah, and when we're filling out the sheets, they make us use green pens because they don't want you messing with anything while you're doing
Oh
this.
yeah, you're not allowed to like change votes or fill in a vote for one that doesn't have one.
And,
Okay.
Yeah, people are watching it really closely.
Because there was a lot that I didn't vote on because I was like, well, these. No offense, some of them I'm like, I didn't even want to vote either way.
Do you want to know the really encouraging thing that I saw? I saw on the Senate race with McSally, on the Republican tickets, I saw several people write in Mark Kelly on the
Whoa.
Republican ticket.
No way.
Yeah.
Huh.
Now, it
Wow.
doesn't matter. It doesn't count towards Kelly or anything like that. But it was kind of encouraging to see that
Right.
because literally, ballot-wise,
Well,
it's 95% Republican.
and technically she did not win her seat anyways. She was appointed to it. So maybe those were folks who never voted for her before too. To be fair,
Well, she doesn't have the best track record, anyways.
Well,
she doesn't.
people probably just thought it was the general.
Maybe.
Maybe they were
It
confused.
could be because, like the city seats, like the mayor, that's decided
Yes.
during this, but everything else was just a primary.
Yeah, I thought that they were going to have to go on to the next step, like even the supervisor seat. I thought it was going to narrow it down,
Well, no,
and
no,
they were
no.
going to move on.
No, with the county supervisor seat, that is true. Travis won the primary, but he still has to go onto the November ballot. But I believe he's running uncontested.
Oh, none of those other people get to run against him.
Stephanie, go ahead.
Oh, there's
Yeah.
just one district that has somebody in the Democrats running against
Yeah, that's
them.
just
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
Jack.
Yeah,
Jack
District four.
Earhart or something. Yeah.
Okay.
I work there at the end.
Yeah.
And you see a lot.
Did
of
you
that.
all turn in your
He
votes?
recently
How many?
just friends requested me.
Who?
Jack.
Yeah, Frank me too.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
he just
Very
friends
cool.
requested
Very
me.
cool.
Hey,
So on that note, wait, let me just say one more thing. To those folks that were running against Karen Weiss and you never replied to any of my private messages on Facebook to ask certain questions to tell you that maybe some of you would like to attract other people's votes, well, shame on you, right?
well, they don't want libtards who's, supporting them.
Shame on you.
At least Travis embraced the libtards.
I was trying to reach across that aisle.
Oh man, I said his name. Now we can say it now. Congratulations, Travis, on that. So a little bit a story from my place up in Vermont. In Montpelier, Vermont, they planted a Black Lives Matter mural on a building.
Very
down there.
cool.
Yeah, but somebody went through and threw mud on it, spray painted it, defaced it. They caught who it was though, because as he was leaving, Fred Seavey, 56, crashed into the median on the interstate outside of Montpelier.
Whoopsie.
Yeah. So, matching DNA to the spray cans that were left at the scene, that's how they connected it to who defaced the mural.
Oh my God. So did he die?
Yeah, it did.
Oh, okay. But so they did the DNA match.
Yeah, they matched his DNA to the spray cans.
Whoa. sorry about your luck,
Yeah.
dude. Not really.
That's why you wear gloves when you're spray painting shit.
And you're committing any crime, really.
Pretty harsh
Yeah.
karma right there.
Yeah, it's funny that these people rally against vandalism, then they go and vandalize.
Then they go
shit.
out and do it. Yeah. Hypocrites.
It's back to another local story. The Wallapai Indian tribe is located about 30 miles north of here. They run Grand Canyon West, because I know we have people that aren't in this area that listen to this. They started prohibition there because you have a tribe that had, look at my notes here, they had 97 members catch COVID, 12 of them died. And they locked down for a few weeks and they decided, well, we need to get this under control. So talking to one of the members the other night, she was saying how that they started this prohibition because you have a lot of people that congregate together in social situations and they go home to these houses that have 5, 8, 10 people living in them, and that's how COVID was spreading up there. So now, what was the fine that I sent you the paperwork?
$4,000.
$4,000 if you're caught with alcohol. And what they do is, if you're a tribal member, you have to come to this area to go shopping for supplies and stuff like that. So they stop you, they search your car as you're entering the reservation now. Even to the fact of going into your spare tire compartment.
Oh, wow.
They tear your car down. But that goes back to around here and the mask mandates and everything else that people are still crying about.
Yeah, people here thinking they have it bad.
Could you imagine?
They think they have it bad,
Could
man.
you imagine if like they stopped you as you were leaving Smith's and they tore your car apart looking for alcohol?
Oh, their heads
It's
would
just
explode.
near beer. It says non-alcoholic. I scratched out the part where it says it's alcoholic, and I wrote non-alcoholic with a Sharpie pen.
None.
So it works. When you write with a Sharpie pen on things, that makes everything okay.
Yeah.
We've already learned this. Even our leader does this.
Yeah, I mean, we can change trajectories of hurricanes with it. You can, change the death rate of COVID down. Just use a Sharpie. We have started using Sharpies with my fine product on our show.
I got a Sharpie
Yeah.
right here.
I should have brought more Sharpies. I'm out of Sharpies. Left them at home.
Who doesn't love Sharpies? They come in all
man.
cool
All
colors.
yeah.
I thought you always had a
Yeah, just think
Hey.
for a second, like if you're going down El Trevador Hill and there's like a checkpoint to search your car, and the shit show that would ensue over something like that. Oh my God, my rights, my freedoms. Like, it's bad enough with the mask. I kind of like wearing a mask, and I'll tell you what, I kind of hope we're wearing them in the winter because it'll cover up that shit-eating grin on my face when I see somebody slip in ice and fall down with a bag of groceries.
Right. I know. I kind of like wearing the mask too. I mean, I've become accustomed to it now. It's not my favorite thing, but I'm like, sometimes I don't want people to see the shitty look on my face when they're telling me some story where I'm like,
It does cover
I'm
up
kind
a
of glad you don't see what's going on under here.
I'm a fan of the stay 6 feet away from me. Even if this is over, always fucking stay 6 feet away from me. This is great.
Yeah, I know, people's
Right. I know. I would like my bubble. I have a space bubble that I would like to
Yes.
continue around
Hey,
myself.
in the county building, though, they were all wearing masks, and
Yes.
even the Republicans weren't complaining about it in there. So
Yeah, that's what they're doing in real life. The whole thing they do with the people who catering to the anti-mask crew is just for show.
Mm-hmm.
It is for show. They are not going to do that
Mm-hmm.
to harm themselves or their own families. And that's what baffles me about these folks is like, doesn't that concern you that like they're not doing it? Because that's what they should be doing.
The different county departments, each one comes up with their own policy. That's how they did it. So, like the head of each, the assessor or the recorder or the treasurer for each department, they are the ones who make that policy for it. Like in my office, at the assessor's office, it's just strongly recommended. but in like, I think it's human resources, nobody's allowed to go in there without a mask. I mean, there's different, they have different policies.
Isn't that a little bit ridiculous though? Because you're all in the same building, so to have certain departments going, well.
I would like to ask some of these people, how would you like to be a staff member for Louis Gohmert? I mean, come on. The guy, I mean, made fun of people who doesn't wear masks. Then when he finds out he has COVID, goes back and tells everyone, without a mask on, holds a meeting.
Or you could be Herman Cain.
Oh, God.
Even worse.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
His fate, even worse.
Goes to the rally in Tulsa and no more Herman.
It's like, pay attention, folks. Pay attention.
Let's see. We're kind of freewheeling it here today, if you can't tell. You know, we have.
Oh, they can tell.
Yeah. Well, I had changed the subject, you know, because we had a certain person that was supposed to come on and do a certain subject, and then you know I started wanting to get into the mental health aspect of how this is affecting us. But I didn't have a good week. I'm just like, I didn't want to come on here and be like, oh. So I decided
My mental health is low this week. Of course, mental health can spread even to more shows too. That's a huge topic right there.
Yeah, well, I also had, this goes back to a problem here that exists for COVID is drug problem here in Kingman, and I had
Drugs are up.
I don't think they're up, but it's always a problem.
Well, yeah.
And I had a friend, a coworker I used to work with, and he, he got into drugs and pretty bad, and so he got arrested for forgery or something like that. He was out of prison, and he ended up hanging himself like last week. And it's a problem here. It's a problem everywhere. You know, we're kind of talking local, but the issues that we're talking about here can be relatable all over, I guess.
Yeah, the prison's bad with COVID right now too. They will not allow any of their inmates to work in on the service yard, the complex. They're not allowed. They have to stay in their yards. Like there's Huachuca and Surbat, they have to stay on the yards because it's so bad. Because the prison system allowed inmates who they knew had COVID, they transferred them here from Maricopa. They knew it too at the time, and they didn't care. They whatever they don't want, they transfer here.
Yeah, and well, that's like these schools tried to open up in Georgia, and one kid tested positive, and you have like 130 some odd people that have to go in quarantine now. I think it happened in Mississippi, and it's gonna be a trend that you're gonna see all over the place.
Yeah, and how cost effective is that? They open up the school, have everyone come back. Somebody has COVID first day, they have to go and test and do all that, close it all back down. How is that spending or saving money wisely? How is that doing that?
It's not.
So to go back to that problem, the eviction protection ran out. Now, I think Trump signed some kind of executive order, words are hard, yesterday. I don't know how that's going to protect people, but we already have a problem with homeless everywhere across the United States. And I wonder how that's going to compound the problem. And what I want to talk about a little bit here is Aaron has been really an advocate of the homeless, if you follow him on social media. So what do you think about this, Aaron?
I'm not sure yet. It's different every day. It is summertime. We are at the hub of the 93 and the I-40. Got a lot of people that get off here looking for somewhere else to go. I've been helping them out when I see them, and there's a couple places especially downtown Kingman, because that's usually where I'm at. If I see somebody who's just looking for help, I'll go buy a bottle of water or a sandwich from Circle K or something. I'm not going to give them money because, I'm a recovering alcoholic. I use that term loosely. I know a lot of addicts. I know if you give somebody cash money, they're going to go spend it on booze or drugs. So I've had some donations from other people to help start a project, or at least help me help these people. If I see somebody in the alley smoking a bowl of meth like I did the other day, I was just absolutely blown away. Like, oh yeah, I'm just lighting up a bowl of meth. Like, holy shit.
Was that the girl?
Yeah, it was the girl. There was another guy who I've interviewed before. I'm just like, I went and got a couple bottles of water and a couple sandwiches, and I'm like, you know what? Here you go. Like, at least you'll get through the night, and if that's one more night, you'll make it through, and maybe some way find help if there is help, which is something I really got to nail down. Like, this project started this week when I saw this stuff going on, and it's work in progress. It's gonna take a while. It's not gonna happen overnight.
What kind of project were you thinking?
Just something. I know we got a mission here. We got Cornerstone mission, but I think it needs to go beyond that. I think it needs to go beyond a place for these people to go, because the mission won't let you in if you're under the influence of drugs or alcohol. I would be interested in finding a way to buy property downtown or somewhere, or set up like some kind of makeshift tent to at least, feed and give these people water, hygiene products. Like, for one night, maybe some counselors volunteer their time. I was talking to Stephanie, some other people, like, especially the women. I mean, the feminine hygiene products.
Yeah.
Like, they're coming out here. There's got to be sexual abuse going on. There's got to be, just when people are on drugs and alcohol, pretty sure we've kind of all been there at one point. Like, you just don't think when the hormones kick in, and it's even worse than when you're under the influence. Like, rape counseling.
Yeah.
Or, hey, you know what? Who are you? How do we find your parents? How do we notify them and let them know where you're at?
Yeah, I mean, some people, these drugs get a hold of them. I had a girlfriend, and we were on and off for years and years. And I was living out here, and, she called me, probably about 4 or 5 years ago, she called me out of desperation. I hadn't heard from her in years. And she was in a really bad place, and she was homeless. And I had actually gone back to Boston. I brought her out here, and not knowing how bad the drugs had taken effect. And she just wasn't the same person, just at all. It's kind of sad, and and she, I guess, contacted her people back in Boston who enabled her, and they flew her back after a few weeks, a couple months, whatever it was. But it's a sad situation. What happens to these people?
And I don't think, it's easy for somebody to go, well, just put the bottle down or don't stick the needle in your arm. But it's like, when you're not an addict or an alcoholic, you don't get that. Like, when you're on the streets, or when you're, I found a dollar bill on the ground, I'm going to go buy a can of beer. Like, it's a weird beast. And that's kind of what I want to try to get, with this project I'm trying to organize, and I'm still in the infancy stages. Like, this is literally like, hey, I just found out I'm pregnant stage, versus, the kid's 18 and grown up. Like, how do I do this? And I've got support. I've got help. Some people have, donated a few bucks here and there. And I always keep a couple bucks in my pocket. So if I see somebody who's hurting, like, hey man, just go get him a bottle of water or a hot dog or something.
Yeah,
There is some kind of housing program where they find homes for homeless people, because I've seen it on there's that show Adam Ruins Everything, and they did one on homes, and a portion of it was talking about the homeless and how the saying was like, yeah, but if you just give someone a home, they're not going to appreciate it. Well, they had this woman on there that said that's not true, and she used to be an addict.
Yeah.
She used to be living on the street, and that's how she turned her life around. Was she was given a home to live in, like it was a small home, but it was her home. She still lives in it today, and she's like, I think she herself is now an advocate for it too.
You get a place to sleep. I mean, give it just a cot, or a warm shower, or a haircut, or a shave, or a hot meal. Just someone to talk to can go so much further than people think.
Yeah, because we don't know what happened to them. They could have been completely ignored by their own families, and that's why they ended up in the place that they were in. Or a lot of times I think it's also mental illness too, and is that like the way that you deal with people? Like is by, I mean, that's people's solution is like you
can't just
we
cast
don't
them out.
help them, like we don't,
You
yeah.
can't. All lives matter. But
Right.
fuck these people. Like, wait a second, man.
If we're doing all lives matter, then yeah, why isn't there a focus on homeless people too?
Love somebody
I mean,
to pitch in at like a tent or a couple of cots and a plot of land and a way to help these people. If all lives matter, then here's your chance to prove it.
Well, yeah, but all lives don't really matter. It's just the counteraction of, you know.
it's the
because
thing. It's the thing to say against Black Lives Matter because like I had just posted something about this recently, and of course I had one of my troll friends get all pissed off because it said you never hear the All Lives Matter crowd saying anything when there's when someone says something about how blue lives matter. It's only when somebody says something about Black Lives Matter. That is the only time the All Lives Matter will chime in on anything. And it's true.
Right, and these same people will be like to the homeless, well, go get a job. Pull yourself up by the bootstraps.
And they have no idea that most of those folks, a lot of them have mental illness too. They need counseling work to happen. They need that kind of help. It's not just, it's that kind of medical help. Like mental help also needs to be brought in with health issues too. It's all, mental health is health issues also.
Well, if they're on meds and they're off their meds, they go nuts.
Right.
A lot of them, I mean, we used to have the Arizona at Work thing downtown. They moved it onto Airway, which is kind of cool because it's a central location in town. But how do they get there? Like, set up a volunteer ride to get there, to help build a resume, to help fill out applications. How many jobs? When's the last time you went in somewhere and filled out an application and handed it to the manager and shook his hand? It's all online now. If you don't have a computer, you're kind of screwed on that aspect.
Right.
Is our library open right now?
I'm not sure.
I don't know, because I thought they had an outbreak.
How cool would it be if like 5 people came down and set up laptops and said, hey, I'm going to help you fill out a online application or touch up a resume for some of these
What I
people.
hate about those online ones
Or
is a lot.
buy a bus ticket home and go see your family.
A lot of them give you that test afterwards. You know, what would you do in this situation? A, B. This situation, A, B. It's almost like they're trying to trick you into, you know. I just hate the whole doing that. But I might be looking soon for something.
Uh-oh.
We'll see. Yeah.
Surprisingly, I logged on to one of the, I just wanted to see, like, I was curious about if there was even jobs available right now. And there were a bunch in there.
There are.
I was surprised. I'm like, even during this time, that's
I get
crazy.
notifications from Indeed all the time.
Yeah, that's what it brought me up on
Yeah.
when I put, like, jobs in Kingman. It popped up to Indeed.
I saw my job on Indeed.
Uh-oh.
Oh, my gosh.
Uh-oh.
You must have really pissed it. I thought I was pissing people off this
No.
week, but
we can't talk about that either.
Uh-oh.
Really? The lawyers have stopped us from talking about
I
that?
know. You know, the country station is looking for a morning show, but they want 5 years experience. I'm just going to hand them a copy of this awesome
Why the hell not? I've
Yeah.
got 10 years experience as a broadcast print journalist, and you've got this shit down pretty good. Why the hell not?
Do it.
Just hate getting up early.
Do it.
Do it.
Do
Do it.
Although,
Do it.
Do you imagine how hard it is to spin Carrie Underwood records? No offense against Carrie
That
Underwood.
better.
I know.
Do the classic
We
country.
like
man.
Carrie
I love
Underwood.
classic
Willie
country
Whalen.
music. Oh,
I
yeah.
grew up on this shit.
I know, yeah.
I
How about
was,
a classic country?
I was 15 years old, and I come home, and my mom is going, well, my friend got me tickets to a concert tonight, and I have an extra ticket, and she didn't have somebody to watch me anyways, so she's like, you're going to go with us. I'm like, all right. It was Johnny Cash.
No way.
No.
Yeah. And I was just like, at the time I was just like, all right. And I
How
went,
old
and
were you?
It's 15.
Oh, wow.
And I went, it was like, yeah, that's a decent, oh, wow, I know a lot of more Johnny Cash songs. But now, looking back now, I was kind of like, at the time, but now I was like, yeah, I saw Johnny motherfucking Cash.
Right?
Nice.
I wish I could say I went to a Johnny Cash show. Actually, my first concert, though, was the Statler Brothers at the Arizona State Fair.
My first one was Kenny Rogers and Eddie Rabbit.
You gotta be fucking kidding me.
They're cool, too.
My first
Like, that
concert was Carmen. He was like a Christian rock singer because I used to be a good little religious boy before I stopped being a good little religious boy.
Yeah, what happened?
Well, the Statler Brothers were kind of
I've seen so many other concerts since
They were
then.
gospel, country gospel.
I think that's why my mental health is so poor during COVID, because I go to concerts all the time. I've been to one since January.
We need live music back in this town so bad.
My first concert was the Violent Femmes.
The Violent Femmes.
Oh,
Which would show my age.
Oh, you know what though? I saw the Violent Femmes. They were at this rock fest one time, but only got to see them perform 2 songs because all the assholes in the audience kept throwing shit up on stage, and they go, "We're going to leave. We didn't come here to get stuff thrown at us, right?" And they were trying to talk shit at the audience to get them to not throw stuff, but that only makes it worse. So they're like, "Well, bye. We don't care. We already got paid." So, and they left. So I only got to see like 2 of their
Howdy, Connie
songs.
Piper.
Oh, I hate when that happens.
And I love the Violent Femmes.
Mm-hmm. I did. I was in college.
And you cannot fuck with this band. You cannot fuck with the Violent Femmes.
It was in a tiny little theater venue. It was so awesome.
That would have been even better. This was at a huge music
It
festival.
was at the Bluebird Theater in Denver.
Oh, cool.
Take a screenshot and send that to me, please.
Yeah, it's the hours. Actually, the Mojave County Library is opened, and they have limited hours and letting limited amounts of people in there, and people can use computers by appointment.
Cool.
Okay.
If anybody.
So if anyone needs to use computers,
Mhm.
you can go to the library.
I have to have a screenshot.
There are jobs available in Kingman.
There are jobs available in Kingman. And since the unemployment assistance ran out, you'll probably see a lot more people trying to fill those positions. You know? The other thing that brouhaha we had on Facebook yesterday was they canceled the Veterans Day parade in Kingman.
Ruh-roh.
Yeah, you can imagine the uproar that started.
Heads exploding all over the
Left and
place.
right. Well, mostly to the right.
Yeah, right?
Nice.
Mostly right noggins.
See what you did there.
But so the Downtown Kingman Merchants Association, let me get that right, not to be confused with Kingman Main Street, is the ones that are behind that, and also the Christmas parade. And so everybody was up in arms about the city canceling it, and I'm trying to get confirmation with that. I was talking to somebody last night about it, but it seems like this association can't cancel it because you need volunteers, you need sponsors to pull this stuff up. It takes months to do, just like the fair was canceled for this year because the midway vendors that they hire just aren't doing fairs. You know, and they roll into town, set up the fair, tear it down, move on to the next town. But they're just not doing it this year. But everybody's so quick to blame the town
I know.
on this.
Because they're idiots here. I mean, there's really no other way to say it. They don't know the right person to blame, so they just blame what they think they should blame, and that's the town and the mayor and whatnot. and the libtards.
mayor.
Yeah.
The mayor's doing all this.
The mayor's
It's like,
tyrant. Doug Ducey's a tyrant. The same people that voted Doug Ducey in.
Yeah, I'm not a big
Right?
fan regardless. But.
I know. Imagine how that works.
And following the social media posts, Aaron had some great points on, what we could do instead of a parade. But I doubt these people would actually step up to the plate and do it. And what was your thoughts on that?
well, if you put all that energy into a fighting over a parade, like, why not just have, like, once a month? Like, okay, Veterans Day is once a year. To me, it's every day. You know what? I'm a veteran. I have a lot of veteran friends. I don't like the hero worship so much and the blank thank you for your service, but it's like, if you really want to help veterans or recognize them, like, we have a veterans park downtown right next to Locomotive Park.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how
Right.
hard would it be to go across the street to Metcalf Park and have a barbecue and get together and shoot the shit and meet people from different generations? Or, I'll mention Operation 6 downtown because, I have a counselor that I go through down there. Like, if you're going to put this much energy into fighting over a parade, channel it into something productive. If you've got the money to build a float, you know what? How many homeless vets are sleeping on the street tonight? Or how many veterans are struggling, like, wanting to kill themselves tonight and just need somebody to talk to? Or just, there's, especially a lot of us, like, civilian society doesn't really understand us, and channel that energy into something that helps bridge the gap. Like, hey man, I love parades too. Don't get me wrong, I've been in a couple of them. But at the same time, I'm not going to go flinging lashes at the wrong people for canceling a parade. And it's in November, and November weather here in Kingman sucks anyway. Like,
Well, and it's also going to be a week after the election, and if
Yeah.
somebody loses,
oh my
Are they-
the mood that
God.
these people will be in.
Yeah, will they really feel like celebrating? I mean, because they take things very hard. It seems like,
Well, I
They
think
get
most
their
of the
way.
people who are out there being keyboard warriors and complaining wouldn't even attend the parade to begin with.
Right, they just want to bitch. They're like, oh, this is another thing that I can start bitching about. I can get my fingers moving.
But
It's-
Because that's a really good idea. The barbecue idea is a really good idea. Why do they wait all the way till November? They could do those a few times during the year. They could have a barbecue for vets.
harness that negative energy and turn it into something positive.
Yeah.
And some of us
Why
know how
don't
to
they
socially
start stuff
distance.
like that?
I mean, if you've been in the infantry, you definitely know how to socially distance.
And why aren't they out there starting stuff? If they're like, you know what, this pisses me off so much, why aren't they out there saying, you know what, I'm going to do this?
Which is exactly what Black Lives Matter did, is that it took George Floyd to finally piss everybody the fuck off enough to go out and just relentlessly protest and do something about it. I'm not talking about the looters either. I'm not talking about people that causing destruction.
Some of those were anti-protesters anyways. I mean, that's already been proven too. The guy was outed by his ex-wife. The one main guy that was on all the
Yeah,
videos.
was
yes.
that burned
Yeah.
down a lot of store.
Yeah, the one that he was wearing his wife's respirator because it was pink. It was the black with the pink caps or whatever. And she's like, that's my respirator. Which that makes total sense. What guy would go out and purposely buy the one with pink on it? You know? I mean,
No, it wasn't.
Whichever one was left in the Home Depot or wherever.
Could be,
But-
yeah.
but we saw so many comments like, well, they allow the protest down there. Let's do our own protest. Well, okay, go ahead, do your own protest. Do something, but make it positive. Do something positive for the veterans then.
yeah, if you're so angry about what has happened, why can't you come up with a solution then to it? Like, okay, we can't have a parade, so guess what? We're going to have a barbecue. That's a free one.
Or
Go
a
ahead, do
potluck
it.
or a fundraising expo to help homeless vets, or just get together and shoot the shit. I mean, there's the
It
You know,
seems
you
like
got all
they
the-
only do it when they can take credit for it. Like, for instance, an example of this would be the woman who tried to organize and failed miserably at organizing Trump stock. And she was like, she kept going on and on. Well, all the money was going to go to vets and da-da-da. And it was like, and she kept getting her name out there. And I'm like, it seems to me like you just need to get credit for doing this, though. If you really care, why don't you go right now into your checkbook and write a check out to disabled vets? Why don't you do that? If you're so concerned with helping, you know?
Well, I mean, we'll see how that progresses, and maybe some positive stuff will come out of it.
Let's hope.
You know, because I don't know, I'm so sick of the division on absolutely everything.
Mm-hmm.
There's not one subject, and it's either cut and dry, left or right on it, and name calling and fighting on social media. I think that doesn't help everybody's mental health either.
No.
You kind of just have to step away from it once in a while.
I haven't been on very much lately.
That's probably a good thing.
Yeah, it is for me.
I used to be like watching the news every night when all this stuff started back in March. Now I'm just like,
No
I
way.
don't feel like bothering watching it.
I'd rather super glue my dick to the inside of my leg and try to run a marathon than watch 24-hour news network right now.
Yeah, and when you try to counteract somebody, on social media, you try to create a conversation. It's like, you should just stop watching CNN. I'm like, I don't watch CNN.
I know. What? They just assume all of us are watching CNN.
Mm-hmm.
It's all
Just
fake
because
news.
I don't want to watch Fox doesn't mean I watch CNN.
We had Stephanie Cress on last week, and she did say she was an author, but we didn't plug her books.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay. Can they find these on Amazon?
Yes, everything's
Yeah.
on Amazon.
All right. One I'm holding in my hand for my kids is Birth of a Unicorn and Other Short Stories. I'm sure my kids will enjoy that. Thank you.
Mhm.
What else do you have?
Gilded Shadows,
Gilded Shadows?
which is a novel.
And what's that about?
An assassin who's sent to kill a revolutionary kind of woman who's, fighting for her people's rights, and he ends up helping her instead, falling in love.
Oh, I may have to get that one from Colin.
And then this one is just short stories from my publisher. All the different authors with my publisher. Christmas Across Time. I have a really cute short story about kittens
Yeah?
in there. Yeah.
Christmas Kittens?
It's a fantasy story, so it's not about. It's more Yule than Christmas because it's a fantasy. It's a different world. So.
Abraham
Kowalski.
in the Case of the Kitten Snatchers.
Yes.
Oh, cool.
So that was fun to write.
That's what we need is more kitten stories and kitten videos. To
It's
fill
a
our
sweet
time.
story.
Kitten videos will be making a comeback on Facebook.
Yeah.
That's all I do on Facebook is post pictures of my cat anymore.
I know Aaron took some good pictures.
He took
of
some
the cat.
awesome pictures of my cat. Yes, those are the most
Awesome
beautiful
pictures.
pictures I've ever
I
seen
took
of my cat.
awesome pictures of this podcast.
Awesome. Even better.
Yeah, so we got some good numbers last week from the podcast. 2 episodes that we did. Really, I mean, decent. Not earth-shattering. Joe Rogan has nothing to worry about yet. But it was decent. It's decent. It's good to see that we've got some support out there and everybody's listening. So follow us on social media. You guys got anything else you want to talk about today?
I don't think so.
Not really.
No.
It's kind of a slow week.
Yeah. It wasn't a slow week.
It was kind of a hellish week, but
For me,
Yeah.
it was a slow week.
Yeah, we could have done the therapy session episode.
we all just bitch about everything.
Yeah.
I just-
We could set up the mics over there on the couch and just relax.
Lay down on the
Snow can-
couch and tell us your problems.
Snow can be the therapist.
Yeah. That would be good. We're doing that. We are doing that sometime.
Okay. Yeah, so hey, if you have any questions, comments, send them to social media, and we'll answer. Thank you for the fans out there who are doing some awesome research on future episodes. I cannot wait to get to that one.
I
We
know.
stirred some
The one that we're not allowed to talk
One
about.
we're
We
not
can't
allowed to
wait
talk-
until we're allowed
we
to talk
cannot
about it.
wait to talk about that because we made somebody mad. Okay. So anyway, that's it for this week. Next week we'll be better prepared with something, but until then, we will talk to you later.
All right.
Signing
See you
out.
later. Bye.
Bye.